We were deep in the depths of summer. I was occupying my days, doing the same as I had been for the last few months. A bit of work, spending as much time outside and in the sun as possible, and then swimming in the lake to cool off. The water temperature is the best in July and August, thanks to the hours upon hours of sunlight beating down on it. And when I could find the time, I would go to the gym and do some rehab and get in a quick lift. And the day of the 10K came, but I didn't feel like my knees were healed enough to participate. I had been training on and off, and they had been getting better with the rehab, but I wasn't willing to risk injury for this when there are greater things on the horizon. So I watched and cheered on some friends that were racing. And one afternoon, I loaded up with some friends and we made the short drive into North Macedonia to a small water park. It's part of a hotel located in a village just across the border from Albania. And despite it not being super large, it was the perfect way to spend a hot August afternoon. We made it our goal to go down all of the different slides and take full advantage of our time there, before relaxing in an infinity pool with views that rival many of the resorts I've seen in Hawaii.
Go, Josh. Whoa. so bad.
Oh, I hurt myself.
It goes on my way. Yeah. Oh, it works.
I had a number of clients reach out to me for a few different projects that took me all around the region. It might feel like hard work if I didn't enjoy it so much. Driving on knobby mountain roads and stopping whenever I saw a wild blackberry bush.
Ooh. Oh, those are really good. That one was not.
And one of these projects got me up at 5 a.m. because we planned to hike down a mountain and wanted to finish before the peak heat of the afternoon. To be honest, I got up with a bit of a sour attitude. I didn't want to be awake this early. The idea of walking down the mountain for multiple hours was daunting. But as we headed out into the Mokra region, I just kept reminding myself that I enjoy this kind of thing. The minor inconveniences don't take away from the experience unless I allow them to. And with the right mindset, I would come away from this day with nothing but positive memories.
Whoa, those clouds.
We were heading to Lukova Lakes. The plan was to drive all the way up the mountain and hike from the upper lake, then descend using the most direct route down the mountain to the village of Bishnice. So we wound along the mountain roads, making our way deeper into the remote corners of Albania. We stopped in Bishnice for a few minutes to get some snacks and pick up a couple of guys that would be our guides down the mountain. And spending just a few minutes in this small village was enough to bring the memories flooding back. The first time I ever visited Albania was in 2017. I was only here for a few days, and on one of those mornings I hopped in a van, similar to the one I currently own, and went off into the mountains with 5 guys I had met mere minutes before. We drove the same road up to Bishnice and hiked up to the lakes, sat around a fire on the shores of the lower lake, and then made our way back down. It doesn't seem like much, but it was one of the major reasons that I ever considered moving to Albania in the first place. The way that I felt in that moment, sitting there with unfamiliar faces, but at the same time, feeling like I was right where I was supposed to be. So coming back to these lakes felt like a full circle moment, giving me a reminder of why I'm here.
When I was here in 2017, it was April, and this was all frozen over. We walked out onto the lake.
Apparently, the most direct route down the mountain from the lakes takes you through lots of dense brush. I'm still not convinced that there was any kind of path, but we were led by our local guides who knew these mountains like the back of their hand. So even though I was squeezing through saplings and getting whipped in the face by small branches, I was confident that we would eventually get to where we were going. But that didn't stop me from frequently wondering to myself, how on earth did they know where the trail was? Was fresh, and the ground was littered with leaves, making it appear as though we were in the middle of autumn. Our route took us over the top of a number of smaller peaks as we dropped in altitude, and with each peak came treeless meadows giving a picturesque view of the surrounding area. In time, after a few minor mishaps, slipping on rocks, hiding underneath the blanket of leaves on the forest floor, we made it out of the brush and to a poorly kept access road, which eventually opened up into the fields surrounding the village.
That gate's doing a lot of good.
We took a roundabout way to begin our drive back through a handful of other villages and stopped at a small guest house for lunch of more fresh, homegrown, and hand-prepared food than we could have possibly eaten. The following day, I had to take my van to Korce to do a technical inspection, which is required every 2 years for every vehicle registered in the country. And while it's not a difficult process, it's extremely time-consuming.
This is one of the painful realities of living here. Just inefficiency at its finest. Book an appointment, sit at this technical check. I've been here for over 2 hours just waiting in the car so that I can move a little bit every 15 minutes or so. Now someone's cutting in front of me. Seriously? Unbelievable.
On the positive side, I had a few short conversations with people that appreciated the van and the work that I've put into it over the years. And thankfully, I passed the inspection so I don't have to go back there for 2 more years. And a few days later, I went by the house that I was staying at last year at this time, where I was when I started this journey of trying to find beauty in the mundane. I walked around the property a bit, reminiscing, and noticing how different it is without anyone living in it full time. But I couldn't stay for the barbecue that was planned because I had to head off to the gym for basketball. I've been playing consistently and can feel my knees slowly but surely getting stronger and more used to the movement. And they even replaced the floor that was in the gym because the old floor was atrocious. And now we would finally play on a court made out of real wood.
the most ideal. It just feels so much better.
Jump air, spring air.
You just stood on some of the...
And one evening, I met up with my friend Tim, who is traveling around Europe in his RV and happened to be passing through Pogradec. We gathered some stuff from his camper and some food and headed into the mountains with another friend to wild camp for the night.
Okay. What did you say?
You don't know how to drive.
You can walk if you want.
Yes, sure. Yes, please.
Yes, please. Driving into the mountains surrounding Pogradec to a spot that a friend showed me, like within the first few months of when I moved here, 6 years ago.
We went to a spot that I used to go to frequently with my friend Sam, back when I first moved to Albania. It's a nice little meadow nestled in the middle of the mountains, with a small reservoir at one end. Cows and goats are commonly herded through there for the water as the shepherds move their way around the mountains, and I think our presence kind of made the cows nervous. As we set up camp, the clouds started to grow. The weather app said it would be clear, but in the mountains things can be so unpredictable. So we gathered wood and set up a few things as the droplets started to fall.
I need to be able to see though. Is it lit? I think you should be.
Well, we're going to put more on top of it. That looks much more menacing on a camera. A darker contrast. The clouds have set in, and it's not looking great. They're fine. There's thunder and lightning all around us. I have a meeting in about 45 minutes that I'm supposed to be in, and we're trying to decide if we're going to stay here and wait or move on. I'm optimistic that it won't start storming. It might rain around us, but I don't think it'll rain here. At least not hard enough for us to pack up and go. But we have to wait and see.
As the rain picked up speed, we retreated into the shelter of the van, pretty confident that this would blow over relatively quickly, and we could enjoy our evening under the stars. We did have to be careful, though, because part of the road in was made up of 2 narrow tracks just wide enough for the tires, with deep ditches on either side. and they would turn to mud if it started to downpour, making even the slightest slip of the tires detrimental. I have a lot of confidence in my van, but being out here without another vehicle for safety makes me err on the side of caution.
I need to adjust to your height. So as expected, whenever I go on an adventure, it starts raining.
It's the Tim Tense effect.
Yeah.
Oh, that smell! It smells so good out here.
The rain.
The rain let up though, and Tim and Gary were back outside gathering more firewood so that we could cook dinner. Meanwhile, I had to attend a meeting for work, and thanks to Tim's Starlink internet, I was able to do it right there at the campsite.
Is there any way to communicate with a higher up person in that company?
And despite the thunderous clouds that seemed to be surrounding us from all sides, a few clouds to the northwest started catching the last rays of the sun as it set for the evening, enveloping us in the dark and brisk mountain air. As we ate and watched the lightning show in the distance, Tim and I spent a lot of time talking about YouTube and making videos. He runs a channel of his own, and it's one of the reasons we initially met on the streets of Berat back in 2019. If you'd like to see his channel, I'll leave a link in the video description.
Yeah, the headlights.
Yeah, it's nice.
Because if you want to drive out here now,
My headlights are
I think we should start.
I think you're right.
We should put the meat on here before we put it on the fire.
Try it. It's gonna be so hot right now.
Can you squeeze? Oh, you want me to fully take it or just
No,
grab
just-
a piece? Dude, hold it.
Okay.
That's not bad.
Okay.
I can't.
Do you have a knife?
My knife is there. I don't have it.
I'm not gonna eat any peppers.
Not the spicy.
Not the big one. No, not so big. I thought it was the thin ones.
The thin ones are the spicy ones. These big ones are just regular bell peppers.
Those are good.
Ah, these.
I probably say it every time I get the chance to talk to someone else in this space, but those kinds of conversations give me so much life. It's lonely doing this kind of work, and it's even more so when you're in a small town in the middle of nowhere in a country that being a creator isn't popular. So when I get to speak to people about storytelling and video editing and ideas and execution and trials and triumphs, it breathes into me a fresh new wave of inspiration and gets me excited all over again to keep doing what I'm doing. And it wasn't long until the storms that were our entertainment mere moments before came lumbering over into our patch of sky. As the heavens opened up, we packed as quickly as we could and began the short drive back to Pogradec, not wanting to be stranded if the mud became too slick. It was cutting our camping trip a bit short, but it didn't take away from the time we spent together.
I pulled up and I had just been in the mountains the day before driving through mud. You know, we made an executive decision to get out of here before the road got bad. We didn't want to get stuck here in the morning. And we had the fun that we wanted to have, and we'll go sleep in our beds comfortably tonight.
This sounds like a great idea, honestly.
Thanks for sticking with me. I'll be back soon.